They call them the ancient southern beaches, and they're found all over the southern hemisphere. I believe they're even in New Zealand, according to what they were telling me. And then they also said that the only surviving member of this ancient group today is the ginkgo biloba, um, and that everybody knows what that is. But the ancient tree rings and fossilized leaves on the polar glacier belongs to these trees, which are the South Beach, and it's called Nethofangus, and then the Glossopteris and ancient conifers, which are Permian behemoths in older fossil layers dating back to 260 to 280 million years, long before the beech trees evolved. Expeditions found massive petrified forests dominated by a tree genus called Gesopteris and early ancestors of modern podocarp and Araucarian conifers.
Is that the ones like in Arizona, the trees petrified in them?
Now, these right here, I actually would be you would find these more like in New Zealand, which is in Australia, which is closer to the South Pole. You'd probably find them in Brazil, South America, or maybe the edges of Africa, even like South Africa in that area. Some of them.
So a southern tree.
Right. The British Antarctic Survey is where they're pulling this from, so you probably find it there. So
we can trust the British anyway; they'll do the job.
Yes, you can trust the British.
Okay, and another thing, I was wondering, like solar flares. There's different types of solar flares, and with the Earth. Electrical in the atmosphere. How does the solar flares hit the
now, actually, that
Robert, makes how does it affect the plants?
That is actually pretty interesting because, first of all, we promised Bob Dub that we'd only go an hour or so on this, and Mark too, because he's tired. But I wanted to mention something about this on this two-part thing that we've done. This actually brought up two things that I'd like to do later with you. And the first one I would like to do is go over I mentioned it to Bob Dub too, but electromagnetism because of the what we found out with the radiation. And that made me think of thunderstorms that occur over freaking volcanoes whenever they erupt. I think that would be a really good conversation to talk about. And this also made me think about chemical plumes. Me and Mark was actually on a show with Vicky Bass, and we talked about that. Her husband was really big into like chemical plumes and how vegetation and everything basically leaves a plume in the earth, and you can actually detect it with monitors and devices and stuff.
Would that be detected like by seaweed as well?
Yeah, everything that's biological, these devices can actually pick up on.
And like Bob was saying about oxygen, would seaweed help keep the oxygen within the soil? About the same as what on ground.
Yeah, we could find out, but I mean, I think we probably better bring this to an end. What do you think?
Well, we've got plenty of stuff for.
Sorry.
What'd you say?
I said that was a really interesting episode. It was very interesting. I would like to go into that in more detail. I think that it would be fascinating to look at the internal functioning of the plants and see how they actually stop themselves from freezing.
Mm-hmm.
I know that, yeah. Anyway, yes, it was a fascinating episode. Thank you very much.
I was going to say, it sounds like we have a lot of material for a follow-up episode too.
Yeah.
Indeed. I guess the next one would be Mercury and Red Mercury.
he's been obsessed with Mercury.
Well, yeah, because it deals with a planet.
Okay, no, let me break this down to you guys where he's coming up with this. And Bob W, you might be interested in this. He likes to watch Ancient Aliens, okay? And he's fascinated with the first king of freaking China, emperor of China, being buried in that freaking pyramid with Mercury. Then there's the temple that's in South America that they found, archaeologists found, had freaking red mercury within the tomb for what's her face. I think she's the one that actually you guys freaking talk about, Maya.
I think so.
Bob Dub. The tomb.
I'm sorry, I don't know. I'm sorry.
I can find that later, but that's where he's coming from. He wants to talk about Mercury and stuff.
Red Mercury.
Mercury is a sort of concept for preservative.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it was a very magical sort of a thing, Quicksilver, Mercury, and it was very important to the Chinese alchemically. As I recall the story of the Emperor's tomb, he was entombed and there was like a pool of mercury surrounding him as a protective sort of a thing. I do know that when they did some soil samples around the tomb, they discovered large amounts of mercury in the soil. So they think there's some basis in truth. The thing is, the Chinese government they're not excavating the tomb, and they claim it is because they want to wait until archaeological techniques get better in another 50 or 100 years so that they can excavate it properly. Although, and this isn't the place to go into it, but I have heard that there are other political, ramifications. But in any event, yeah, the mercury's been very important, and I'm not surprised that you would find it in a tomb in America as well as in a tomb, in China. It's a very magical fluid, and if you had access to it, you would probably be amazed by it, and you would want to give it a lot of importance. Red mercury is interesting because I'm not really hooked into it anymore, but that was a trope going around in occultists and alchemical circles for a while, and people were actually claiming to be dealers in red mercury. But this isn't the place to dive into that. But it was a kind of a meme at one time. Like back in, I think it was like the 1980s or 90s.
Well, and during World War II, the Nazis would experiment with it, and 3 to 4 of their scientists had radiation burns and high from electrical discharge from it.
It's very toxic, yeah. I think the big thing about mercury is that it is a conductor of electricity, and it's a liquid conductor. So in theory, you could, if you had something spinning in mercury, you could power it through the mercury and have a frictionless or nearly frictionless. I think they might have been working on things like that. I don't think any of it ever really worked out as practicality. But again, I don't really know a whole lot about the subject. This is, stuff I was reading about, 30 years ago. But it's all being stirred up by this conversation. But yeah, again, we have a lot of good stuff to go on for the next show.
Okay, so I think we should hold off and use that for another episode. What do you think, Robert?
Yeah, if it's all right with you guys.
Sure.
Okay, because I found it interesting because, like, the atmosphere, how the atmosphere works with that stuff, or however, what would happen, because, like, the solar flares hits the electrical atmosphere, and how does it affect the weather?
I don't think it does, to be honest. I can do some research for you, but I'm pretty sure you're just like really getting crazy
Well,
about it. You get crazy about a lot of things, you know that, right?
yeah, that's what you say. But
I just want to say, dude, it's like you take a freaking mile and turn it into 50 miles.
but yeah, but what I'm referring to is there are certain
I'm just really
cover-
impressed you didn't have me searching for more this week, because last week you should have asked Bob though, dude. It was hell. Like I was just tapping away on the keyboard, finding new stuff, and everything.
well, I was referring to
We
like
were magnificent.
the cover of solar flares.
Okay.
What's the difference of the different types?
Do you want me to go ahead and take us out, because you were just
Yeah.
wild.
Well, you guys have a nice day. You too, Bob.
And let me do the cool outro.
Thanks,
Okay.
Robert.
Okay, now that brings us to the end of tonight's program. We appreciate everyone who stopped by to spend some time with us. Even if you're not watching this now, you can watch this later. So thank you for taking time to join the conversation, guys. If you enjoyed tonight's discussion, we'd appreciate your support by following the channel and sharing the stream with someone who might find it interesting. We'll be back with more conversation and new topics soon. Until then, take care of yourself. Have a great evening, and we'll see you next time. Good night, everyone.